Hey everybody, it's John King, and I have Janess. And Janess, honestly, I want to call you Janess Howery, and you are no longer Howery. Is it Grantham?
Grantham, yep.
Oh, I nailed it. Okay. All right. So Janess and I are here today to talk to you about Lead Tracker and how we use Lead Tracker, how to gain more leads, and how to convert more leads using Lead Tracker. So Janess, I am super honored to be teaching this class with her. Janess was one of my students years and years and years ago when she was back in preschool, or at least the preschool of mortgages. And I'm super proud of how much she's grown and the amazing business that she has built. And I'm looking forward to testing her today to see how well she's using the tools. So Janess, thank you for joining us. And I'm really looking forward to teaching everybody about Lead Tracker. So tell us a little bit about kind of your journey with Lead Tracker and what does Lead Tracker mean to you and to your business?
Yeah, so I'm really excited to be teaching with you. There's nobody better to be teaching how to use Jungo and how to use our CRM well because John helped build it. So this is great. For me, because I started as an assistant, Lead Tracker was the first thing I ever learned just being an assistant. It was learning how to track leads and the importance of tracking leads. So it was just natural for me to start as an originator and just track leads right off the bat. I've never known anything else. So if there's anything that's given me a leg up in the business, it's the fact that I learned how to lead track from even before I was in preschool when I was an infant. And so I can attest so much of my business and the fact that I can go back to a realtor that I started with from day one and track every single lead that we've ever had. And that's a really invaluable thing. It's so great. And if I'm ever bored one day, I can go back through 3 to 4 years of lead trackers and track all of that and call and follow up with people. So it is one of the most basic things to start building your business is filling out your lead tracker and knowing where everybody came from that you're trying to work with.
I love it. Well, thank you for sharing that. I guess let's dive into what is a lead. And so Janess, if I were to ask you, define a lead, how do you determine if someone is a lead or not?
I was taught that a lead is anybody who shows interest in buying or refinancing or talking about real estate. That is a lead. So whether it is your Uber driver or somebody that you meet in the grocery store or a more traditional lead where a realtor calls you and tells you I have a buyer lead for you, all of those things count as leads. And then it's all about how you track it and how you ask for the contact information so you're able to follow up with it. But really, anybody who has any interest in buying or selling or refinancing, that is a lead.
I agree completely. What I want to qualify is there's a big difference between a lead and a prospect. And as much as you said, and I agree 100%, that a lead is anybody that wants to talk to you and have a conversation with you about buying, selling, or refinancing, there are names and phone numbers we get that aren't willing to have a conversation with you yet. Maybe it was somebody that came from an open house sign-in list that they walked in and they signed in at the open house and you've got a name and a phone number and that's a lead because that's somebody I could get interested in working with me. But it's not somebody willing to have a conversation with you about buying, selling, or refinancing. And let's be honest, even if they were willing to talk to you during the open house, they weren't really talking to you. They were at the open house that you happened to be there and they didn't want to be rude and ignore you. So it requires one step further of engagement when you've got leads that are coming from the internet, leads that are coming from Zillow. Am I allowed to say that word? Zillow? Okay. Or you've got leads that are coming from, any other source where you're not having a conversation with the client. But you also have some leads that are going to come in that are referred to you, where the realtor says, I referred this person to you. They just aren't willing to take your call. They wanted to call you first. Janess, would you call that a lead?
I would call that a lead.
I would too. So my team hates it when over the years, back when we all had teams, they would say, well, John, why, is this really a lead? Yeah, it is. But last week, the other one you said wasn't a lead. I know, but this one's different. Okay. The rules are fluid. What you're trying to pay attention to is, do you have a client that is open to a conversation with me, with you, about doing business and exploring doing business? Don't clog up your lead tracker with people that you just got a name and a phone number on that aren't interested in having a conversation with you. Anything you'd add to that definition, Janess?
I think that's nail on the head. I mean, it's about how, when you think about what a lead is, it's ultimately you want that to turn into a transaction. So really the key is, are they willing to have that conversation with you to take them to the next step of setting an appointment and getting an application?
Yes. So I want to transition to, why is this important? I mean, a lot of mortgage people, probably a lot of you who are listening today, say, I do a fine job of tracking my leads. I keep a list in my phone. I text it to myself. I write them on a yellow notepad. I've got sticky notes everywhere, and I do just fine. So why is this whole tracking thing so important, Janess?
I think the tracking is important because it is one systemized place where you can go back and record everything. I've done the sticky note system. I have lots of realtors that do sticky notes, and then you lose those sticky notes or they get stuck in a drawer and you don't know where they ended up. And like I said previously, because everything is in one place, I can go back month after month after month and do a lead sweep of everybody that I've recorded. And it is a lot harder to be able to do that with a notepad, with a sticky note, with everything in your phone. And then because our CRM is so just innovative, we can do a lot of things within the lead tracker to be able to provide more value to our agents, our referral sources. So it's more than just, I wrote it down and I know it's somewhere. It's the tools within the lead tracker that can really level up your business and just make it so much more useful and efficient, really.
I agree completely. Janess, I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second. So I am a student of yours and I've been coached for the last 5 years, and I use a lead tracker, but I write it down. That's what I was taught from 5 years ago when I've been doing coaching, is every single month you pull out a legal size piece of paper and I put it in my binder and I handwrite them in there. And it's worked and it's tried and true, and paper can't, I mean, it's right there in front of you. It can't get digitally destroyed or corrupted. Like I keep it with me everywhere. So sell me on why I should use the CRM when it's way more complicated than a pencil and a piece of paper that I can write on and erase.
So for me, I think there's a lot of reasons. So one of the ones that I use the most heavily is being able to go back very efficiently, track all of the leads that a realtor has sent me. So I can go, one of my realtors is Katie Coulter, for example. I can click on Katie's name in the CRM and I can go back and I can see every lead that she has ever sent me. And then I can compile an email really quickly stating, hey, here are the 5 leads you sent me in the month of April. And here's the status on all of them. And all of that information is just at my fingertips. Previously, I would have to go through month after month and find her name over and over in months of lead trackers, figuring out where everybody went. And it wasn't nearly as efficient. It took me hours. I didn't always do it because it took so long. This is so much faster and is an incredible tool that I've been able to get more business with because I've been able to do that, unlike other lenders. So that's probably the biggest one that I use. This is better than paper.
Janess is going to show us how to pull up Katie's information later and how to actually see the leads that Katie has sent. So this is really important for being able to track your realtors, but I'll go a different direction with it, which is on a piece of paper, I just am looking at all of the leads for the entire month. And so sometimes it's hard to find the needle in the haystack. Sometimes it's hard to go back and say, hey, I want to see all of my leads in 2023 that said no to me because they were waiting for rates to drop. And I could do that. If I categorize them the same way, if I put everybody that said not interested and said, hey, I'm going to go back to everybody who was not interested, or I'm going to pull up everybody that was a lead in the last 3 months that said they were thinking it over. If you have it on paper, you got to read through every one and say, which ones of these are thinking it over? And instead, I can just create a report that says, show me all the leads in the last 90 days that are in the category of thinking it over. And let's send a mass email with a video to all of them saying, hey, I know you've been thinking about moving forward on buying a home. Let me update you on what's been happening in the market recently that might make you change your mind and do something sooner versus later. Imagine the power of that. You can't get that from a written piece of paper and be able to put together at your fingertips a complete list of everybody that meets that criteria. And you have a resource in our marketing department that has dedicated people that understand the CRM and can help you create those reports. So no calling me, no calling Janess, saying, hey, can you create the report? Okay, if you're coached by us, we will help you through it. If you need help from a coaching perspective on how to use Lead Tracker, we're happy to help you. From a technical perspective, we have an amazing marketing team that will help you to create all of these reports, and they do regular training. So we're really teaching this from a high-level coach's perspective and how to use it as a student. All right, so Janess, let's go ahead and get started with how do we enter a lead? So the phone rings and it's a borrower. And my first question is, if you were at your computer, are you entering the lead as they're calling, like while you're on the phone, or are you entering the lead after you get done with the phone call and you write everything down in the meantime?
I tend to be a pen to paper person at first, and then I'll go ahead and enter in the information after that. A little old school, new school, so we do it. But I can show you how I enter that lead after I take all the information.
So if you don't mind, I'm going to demonstrate doing it live. Okay. Because I like to do it live. I like to get it done. And so let's move this here and okay. So Janess, you are calling me. Ring, ring.
Okay.
Hello, this is John King. How may I help you?
Hi, this is Janess Grantham at Summit Funding.
You are a borrower. You would not be calling me from Summit Funding.
I'm a borrower. Sorry. Okay.
Yes, that's okay. I didn't preface it well. Well, hello, Janess. I'm sure that you don't like your current employer doing your loan, and you're calling me to do your mortgage. I'm super excited to help you out.
Yes.
How's your day going today?
It is good. It's going good. Thank you.
Well, good. Tell me, first of all, thank you so much for calling. What is it that I can do for you today?
So I was at an open house this weekend, and the real estate agent I met said I need to get pre-approved before I can look at making an offer. And she said that you are the guy to go to help me with that.
Love it. By the way, guys, I'm gonna do a couple of pauses as we go here. So the pink button in the top left corner says new lead. So I'm clicking that. Back to are we resuming our previously scheduled program? Janess, that's fantastic. Who was the realtor that you talked to at the open house?
Their name was Darren Ricketts.
Beautiful. All right. And Janess, you said, by the way, time out. What I did right here is I clicked notes down in the bottom right corner, and I clicked a new note. And I'm going to start typing notes over here as Janess is talking so that I can capture and save those notes as part of our conversation. So I'm doing both at the same time. So back to the role play. Janess, what did you say the name of the realtor was? Darren
Ricketts.
Oh, Darren. Oh, that's fantastic. Now, you said you randomly ran into Darren at the open house?
I did. Yeah. The house was in our neighborhood, and my husband and I have been thinking about buying a house, and there was an open house. So we just popped in and we met Darren there.
I have to tell you, you won the realtor lottery. Darren, I have worked with Darren for the last 5 years, and he is absolutely the best negotiator that cares more about his clients than any other realtor that I've worked with. You truly fell into the right open house with the right person at the right time. You should be super happy. What did Darren tell you about me?
So Darren said that you work together often. He's used you for his personal transactions, which was definitely a testament on my end. That was pretty impressive. But he said that you're really strong at communication and really educate clients about what buying a home means. We're pretty nervous about this whole process. So he said that you would definitely help with that piece of it so we can feel comfortable with everything.
I'm super happy to hear that. It sounds like you, in a short period of time, have built a fair amount of trust in Darren. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, he was really good about asking us questions and just felt like he really cared. So, and again, he had really highly regarded you. So we're just making the calls and kind of going through the process now.
Beautiful. Well, I will tell you that trust you have in Darren, and Darren obviously talked to you about me and how I'm good at communicating and educating clients, and basically told you that you should trust me. And I take that trust that Darren has passed over to me very, very seriously. Your trust in me is the critical, most important piece. And you can rest assured that my service to you not only is about making sure you're happy in the long term, but making sure Darren's happy. Because unlike most lenders that you would call out of the Yellow Pages, I don't even know if Yellow Pages exist anymore. But unlike other lenders you might call off the internet, they've only got one person they're risking losing. And my team and I, if we don't take great care of you, we've got not just your relationship, but Darren's. And so we take that trust very, very seriously. So Janessa, what I'd like to do is I'd like to get started by collecting some information from you. And I've got about 5 minutes before I've got to jump into a meeting, but I'd like to schedule a time for you to come into my office where we can sit down and do a complete buyer consultation. And I'll tell you what you're qualified for. I'll educate you on the market, and you'll walk out with a lot of good information and education. How does that sound?
That sounds amazing. That's
Perfect.
great.
How's tomorrow at 2?
I can't do tomorrow at 2. I could do noon.
Okay, perfect. I can make noon work. All right, so noon tomorrow. All right, so Janessa, I need to get a little bit of information. First of all, spell your first name for me.
Jennes.
Perfect, and spell your last name.
Grantham, Grantham.
Perfect. Janessa, what's your email address?
It is JHOWERY2@gmail.com.
Beautiful. What's your cell phone number?
541-914-2407.
Beautiful. All right. Is it just going to be you on the loan, or is there anybody else that's going to be with you?
Probably just me. I have
Okay.
a better credit.
All right. Fair enough. All right. Now, you said you have the better credit. So is there someone else going to be moving in the home with you?
Yes, my husband.
Your husband. Okay. Will he be joining us tomorrow at noon?
Yes, I will have him come.
Beautiful. Okay. What's his name?
Jeff.
All right. All right. Just 1 second. I'm typing in some notes here. All right. Beautiful. So, Janessa, have you given a thought? Are you looking at resale homes? You walked into an open house, or are you looking more primarily towards brand new construction homes?
Oh, I didn't really think about that. I mean, probably a pre-existing home. I can't imagine building a house right now.
Perfect. And you said you were referred by Jeff. And perfect. So we got our appointment set, and kind of timing out here from the conversation. I'm basically putting the purpose where, what is she trying to do? You can't select more than one. So you're just picking the one that is their primary focus. I'm putting who the lead source was from. I'm putting the stage on where we're at. And right now we're jumping to waiting for appointment. Okay. Now, depending upon the circumstances, I might be somewhere else. My next action date, if I'm meeting with her tomorrow, I personally am going to put my next action date on Thursday. And I'm going to go down here and I'm going to log a phone call. Actually, I got to put my notes in here first. So appointment set for Wednesday at noon. Actually, it's Thursday at noon. And then I'm going to put a big old asterisk on here so that my team knows fake lead, delete me. Okay. Because this is really going into my lead tracker. All right. And I'm going to log a call saying, yep, I spoke to Janessa today. So it tracks it in my lead tracker to show that I talked to him. And if Janessa and I didn't reach each other, I could actually send her a text that says, hey, Janessa, do you have time to talk now? I'm actually going to test that. So I'm going to send her that text, and you'll see what it looks like the minute that I finish saving this. So if that lead came in and Janessa was not able to talk to me right now, or I hadn't yet reached out to her because maybe her realtor called, I can send this text right now to say, hey, Janessa, do you have time to talk right now? And if it's noon on a Saturday and I don't want to do that, I can schedule it to go out at 9 a.m. on Monday. So you can schedule that call, that text to happen. And then I'm going to put the realtor's contact information here. So I'm going to put Todd Screamer. So we're just going to put Todd Screamer in there because I don't have Darren Ricketts in my system. And I'm going to send a thank you text to Todd. I'm not really going to do this. But actually I am, because it's gonna be really funny. All right, so we're gonna send a text to Todd thanking him for referring Janessa to me. And I'm gonna hit next. So again, I'm doing all of this stuff while I'm talking to Janessa about what's going on. And this little window over here has never gone away. So I've been able to type my notes about what's happening and capture them. And so I'm gonna put in here, Janessa, initial conversation. So I've got all of my notes right here. I've got the lead has been created, and the key is right here. I click right down here at the bottom and I add this note that I created to Janessa's record because her record was just created. So it's now a contact. I add that to her contact record. And now, even if I get rid of that note, all of the notes are saved right down here under notes for parent contact. Boom, Janessa initial conversation. So every single thing I talked to Janessa about is right here. I can create a new note for another conversation I have with her later if I choose to, or anybody on the team can. So we track everything right here. But what you notice, Janessa, did you get a text message from me?
I have not yet.
Okay. Well, it should be coming through.
No,
Once
I did.
typoed
Just
her.
it's here. Yes,
Okay,
I got
read
it.
it to me.
It says, "Hi,
Read it off your text.
This is John King with the King team at Summit Funding. Todd Screema mentioned you were looking for information about a home loan. I was hoping we could find some time to talk soon."
Could you reply to that?
Yes.
Send me a reply. So guys, this is already automatically part of the CRM. So as I'm on the phone with her, I'm putting all this information in. It sent a text message to Todd. Okay. So I can go right here to Todd's record and I can see that it sent a text message to Todd right now. Todd knows who Janessa is, so we're probably going to figure out pretty quickly what it is that was going on here. Okay. But I just sent a text message to Todd that says, "Todd, thank you for referring Janessa Grantham to us. We appreciate your trust and look forward to taking great care of them. Please call if there's anything we can do for you. John King, the King team at Summit Funding." And Todd has received the message because I got two little checkboxes there. And so this allows you to automatically communicate with your realtor immediately upon the lead coming in. You've told them with just checking one box that it sent a complete text message letting them know you got the lead and updating that realtor. Janessa, how amazing is that?
It invaluable. That is so handy dandy.
Yes. All right. So is there anything you want to add about entering a lead into the system, Janessa?
I think you pretty much covered it.
Nailed it.
No more?
No, we're good. All right. So let's talk about working a lead. So Janessa, I'm going to share your screen.
Okay.
I want you to pull up. So how do you know what leads to work right now? So we're going to put you on the spot and I'm pulling up Janessa's screen, Miracles of Technology. And so Janessa, talk to me through what your process looks like as far as how do you know what leads to work on. And did your screen just disappear? Oh, no, it's there.
There we go. Can you see me now?
Yes.
Blacked out for a second. So for me, I generally go off of my actual lead tracker and print that and go through that and work off of that first. So I am going to go to team members, and mine might look a little different because we've got all kinds of people in our branch. But I'm going to go to my lead tracker right here and go to this month. And I'm going to pull up my lead tracker, and it'll load in a second. And this is what it looks like. So this is all of my leads for the month of April so far. And so I'm going to go through. I usually start
window because I'm only seeing.
Oh,
I didn't see the
window.
Yeah. So there you go. There you go. Perfect.
There we go. You see it now? Perfect. Okay. Smarter than the technology. So this is giving me all of my leads for this month. And I usually start at the bottom, so the most recent first. And I go through and see who I have not been able to convert to an appointment yet, is where I start.
Can you pause for 1 second?
And so, for example, so we'll go with, yep.
I'm old, so can you zoom in so that the white of the actual report fills the entire screen? Because that'll help everybody be able to actually see the report. So hit the plus button way at the top.
How do I zoom? Oh, right there. My bad. Okay. Okay. That better?
A couple more clicks. Perfect. Get it all the way to the edge.
So I would start a couple more. Okay.
Beautiful.
Better. Okay. So let's go with the Jordan Mercer one. So this one, I do not have a phone number for this person yet, but I do have an email. So I can click in to her name right here. I can click Jordan Mercer, and hopefully it'll stay on this page. And I can go in and I can essentially update the stages. I can go in and I can work through my communication. And so I can go ahead. I don't have a phone number for them yet. So I would go to email and I would look at, I essentially schedule emails or go through. I tend to, for her in particular, I have an email already that the agent started with me. So I wouldn't use it in Jungo for this one, but I know that I need to get contact information for this person. So I can go in here and update the stages. I can log my calls. I can text her once I get a phone number. I can go through and log all of those things. But ultimately, I'm going to use that lead tracker to figure out who I need to get to the next step. And so if we go back to the lead tracker itself, I would go through and I would see who I need to convert. The goal is to get an appointment with them. And so for Jordan in particular, let me zoom in here again. For Jordan in particular, I have not been able to make contact with her yet. I've emailed her, but I haven't heard back. So my next step would be to reach out to Katie and ask her if she's communicated with this borrower, so I can try to continue to convert them and ask for contact information, so I can then convert this 111 placeholder number into an actual phone number and start the process of texting her and really following up to try to get her to come in for an appointment. Another example of one would be, let's see here, Mr. Kittle. So Mr. Kittle and I have been emailing back and forth. He has an application, or he has the application, but hasn't filled it out yet. And so I can go ahead and go into his lead itself. And I can go ahead and text him from here, just like John showed you, and start going through and texting him, checking in on the application. And then I can also update Darren, the lead source, where'd he go? Right there, and text him and email him from Jungo stating where I'm at with him. The other thing that I can do is I can click on Darren's name and go to a Darren specific lead tracker. And it will show me all of the leads that he sent me, so I can follow up with him on anybody else that I need to and see where they're at with everything while I update Darren on that particular lead, which is pretty handy. So that's how I use my lead tracker, is I really start from the bottom and I'm working to convert everybody into an appointment.
Tell me how you would use this screen right here. If you called Darren on a Monday as a check-in phone call, how would you use that lead tracker in that conversation?
Yeah, so I would call Darren on a Monday, check in with him on his weekend, and then ask. Usually I'm a big permission asker. So I'm like, hey, do you have a few minutes and can we touch base on some leads? And then I would literally go down the list. So say, hey, I talked to Richard. We're working on an application, but he hasn't submitted anything yet. He's had some questions. My goal is to get him set for an appointment this week. Veronica I haven't heard from her yet. I know she was a Zillow lead. Have you had any luck getting her nailed down? Selena is pre-approved. I pre-approved her last week. Did you get a chance to have your buyer call with her? And have you guys looked at any homes? So essentially I would just go down the list of anybody that we have recently. And you can see that this goes all the way back to, this goes back to January of last year and beyond. So usually I'm going over the first month, the ones that we've gotten in the past few weeks. But this is when I referenced earlier how I do a lead sweep. I would go through and I usually do the full year. So I can go back and just set up an email of, here are all the leads you've sent me this year. This is where everybody's landed. And I'll even do that for years previously because I have all of that data. You can see all the way back to 2021 is how long Darren and I have been working together. And we can go back and recap where all of those leads landed. Also a tool that, because most realtors are not super organized with their leads, you can say, hey, here's a list of people that we've worked with if you want to start calling them too and see if they've ever if they ever ended up buying a house and where they're at. So that is how I use the agent specific lead trackers to help give value back to my agents.
Love it. So Janess, do me a favor, click on Darren Ricketts contacts and click on the tab that says pyramid. Have you used the pyramid tab very much?
Yes.
Okay. So
I don't use it as much as I should, but Darren should be a pretty decent example.
So this automatically calculates Darren's lead count, credit pull, transactions, and funding count and conversion. So what I'm looking at right here, and I'm getting old, so I'm going to put on my old person glasses. Okay. So what I see right now when I wear my old person glasses is I see that in the last 90 days, Darren has given 6 leads. In the last 6 months, it's been 13 leads. And in the last year, it's been 31. So if I look at that, I'm saying, okay, 31 leads in a year is 15 leads in 6 months. So in the last 6 months, he's given 13, which means he gave 18 leads in the first 6 months. So it's kind of declining a little bit. That would pop into my head. The last 90 days is 6 leads. That's pretty close, a little bit lower, but still pretty close on track for, I see a little bit of a drop in those numbers. His conversion numbers. So we are converting 51% of his leads are allowing her to pull credit in the last year, but she's at 83% right now. So the lead count has gone down, but the lead quality has gone up. I'd be A-okay with that because it means the 6 leads that he gave, 83% of them were willing to pull credit versus the 31 in the last year, only half of them were willing to pull credit. And so just in a 30-second analysis of this, I would say Darren's quality is improving, and the people who are tire kickers that aren't willing to actually work with Janess, he's not sending them over anymore. And so I'm happy if I was Janess getting fewer leads, and I would compliment Darren and say, hey, I've noticed more of your clients are willing to let us pull credit. Do you feel like you're doing something different in the last 6 months than what you did 6 months ago? And talk through that. And you can see a trend going the other direction where you can say, man, my lead counts are dropping and my quality is dropping, or my lead counts are going up, but my quality is dropping. And all of these things are indicators that you can use to help coach your realtor because they need help. My God, we all know they need help. We all need help. And realtors need help in how to make a better transition from them to you when they're referring somebody. And so this gives you that information. And then Janess, if you'd scroll down a little bit, the rest of this down at the bottom is manual. And so it looks like Janess is not doing the manual stuff, and that's okay. So this is allowing you to pull up your capture rate. And so Janess, right now, we're going to update it. You're going to click edit right there where it says total list sides in the last 12 months. And you're going to, where would you find total list sides in the last 12 months? You find it by looking up on MMI. Now, do you know how many listings they did versus buy sides? MMI doesn't tell you. Actually, I guess you can. You can see it in MMI. So you get the data. So we would know. So while Janess is doing that, I'm going to explain the rest of this. And so we can see fundings in the last 365 days, because if Janess were to scroll up on this screen, we have a count right there on the upper half of the screen that tells me that we have funded 3 loans with Darren in the last 365 days. So Janess is going to scroll back down, and in the top right box of that lower half, she's going to put the number 3 as how many fundings we've had in the last 365 days. And then right below that is how many leads we had in the last 365 days. And the answer to that is 31, because I remembered it from up above. And so now the only thing we have to do now is to see how many buy sides did Darren have and how many list sides did Darren have. And while Janess is looking that up, I'm going to distract her again, because on the left side, the third column, after you put those numbers in, is going to say buy side totals last updated. You're just going to put in today's date right there in the third column, third box. That's it. Click save. This is a snapshot in time. This tells us right now how much of his business that Janess is getting. Janess has got 23% of his total buy-side transactions in the last 12 months. And so she's got room. So we believe that a realtor on average can control 50% of their buyers. And so if you have 50% or more, you have success. I think Janess is getting a good amount of Darren's business, but if I don't know anything about Darren. I hope Darren doesn't watch this video. If he does, Darren, I'm not saying anything negative. I just think you have another lender. I think that you love Janess the most, but you give what you can control around to a few other people. MMI would tell us a little bit more about that. But I think that if I just look at this statistically, we can see that we have some room to get more of Darren's business. And this bottom half never dynamically updates. So about every 6 months, end of the year, and then in midsummer, I go back through my top realtors and I update these figures. And so I pull them up on MMI because that's a manual process. I plug it in over here and I update because, again, I'm comparing as of this moment, how many closings do we have in the last 12 months and how many deals has he done in the last 12 months, so that at that moment, the snapshot in time is accurate. Down the road, 6 months from now, it won't be, and you need to update it again. Janessa, what do you think about that as a tool?
I mean, being able, it's just having your finger on the pulse of your business is one of the most important things for growth. And so having these tools at your fingertips, again, I have the experience of having to do that manually for years and years and years as an assistant, and being able to just do it as quickly as we did in just a few minutes live for you. It saves you so much time, and that's information that you can really use, again, as John said, to coach your realtors, to dig in a little bit more. You have the proof to show them, hey, I see you've done this many. I got 3 of those closings. Tell me what the other lenders are doing really well for you. How can I be better for you? How can I earn more of your business? And you have those cold hard facts in front of you to be able to show them, like, this is what's happening right now.
Exactly. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to share a little bit about how I work my leads. And so let me put, again, my old person glasses back on. So I just clicked on the lead tracker right up here in the top. I don't use my lead tracker homework. I print my lead tracker homework when I'm turning it in for coaching. Other than that, I've pinned the list of this month's leads. And I'm starting with the most recent leads. Now, we are having a crazy lead month, So I am currently, so it says 50 plus items for this month's leads. Guys, literally, as of right now, if I scroll past this, it'll update. I have 96 leads month to date. It's the 16th, okay? It's crazy, it's amazing, but it's kind of stupid crazy, okay? But what this allows me to do is it allows me to see all of my leads in the same way that Janessa did, but I'm doing it from right here. So I don't have to open up and wait for the lead tracker homework to show up, but more importantly, I can drill deeper. So I can say, you know what? I want to see last month's leads, or I want to see everybody that's in stage 1A, 1B, and 1C, and I'll show you lead stages in a second. But this groups for me anybody that is in the initial contact phase. Either we have never talked to them, that's 1A, which is initial conversation needed. 1B, which is I'm waiting to have a needs analysis call. Maybe the client called and left a voicemail, or we texted. Well, then we've communicated, we've connected. So 1A, initial contact needed, says we've never connected. But 1B says I'm waiting for, so 1A, initial contact needed. 1B says waiting for needs analysis call. We haven't actually had a conversation. What Janessa and I did earlier on this call, we didn't really do needs analysis. I just talked to her and we set an appointment. And so if I didn't have an appointment set, I would have said, hey, Janessa, I know you're busy. Let's set a time to talk later on today about what you're trying to accomplish. And I'd put it in stage 1B. And so this, by the way, my leads are going back. Let me switch it the other direction, because this will show me the most recent leads that I'm saying, hey, these are my leads from this month that are in this exact stage. Your printed lead tracker homework, whether you hand wrote it or whether you did it through the system like Janessa is doing, shows you everything, including the dead leads. I don't care about the dead leads. I want to see what's most important to me. So I'm picking these views are all pre-made by marketing. You can edit and make your own, and I'm not going to show you how to do that. Marketing can help you. But I can see all of my leads that were created today. So if I want to know just, hey, what leads were created today? I've got 2 leads that were created today, Saul and Janessa. So it gives me the ability to drill in. Here's my purchase leads from the last 3 months. So I can drill very, very deep into what I am looking for and where those are at. And this really, I can even group it by stage and say, hey, I want to look at people that these are my purchase leads in the last 3 months, that here's the 12 people that we have not had initial contact with. That would be a pretty amazing list to have all grouped right next to each other. And Janessa, you can't do that if you're just looking through the lead tracker. So I'm picking on you a little bit, but if you're always working through the physical list, it kind of reminds me of how years ago, I don't know if you were around, this is probably before you were born, that we transitioned from physical files to electronic files, but we treated them the same as a physical file. Like we would literally scan, and we would have one scan that was called the left side of the folder and one scan called the right side of the folder. And that was electronic digital files, but you just treated it like it was a printed file. You just stored it electronically. And I'm going to encourage you, that's what you're doing right now, is you're taking your lead tracker and you're treating it like the old fashioned lead tracker that just happens to be digital. But there's so
Absolutely.
much more you can do as far as narrowing down your leads. Go ahead.
No, it's perfect. And I think it's a good example of like being so many people are pencil and paper and how to transition into being fully digital and showing the tools, like how clunky it is the way that I tend to do it versus how you can do it much more efficiently on your end.
Yeah. So everything has a stage. I drive my lead tracker. So when I ask, how do I know when to follow up on a lead? It's based on two things. It's based on the lead stage and it's based on the next action dates. Now, do you use next action date, Janess, or do you schedule yourself tasks on something to follow up?
I schedule myself tasks on my Outlook calendar.
I use next action date in lead tracker. Now, I'm not going to show you my pyramid. The pyramid is your list of next actions that are due. Guys, I got 100 leads a month for the last 3 months, and I'm at 100 leads in the last 2 weeks for April. So we're working on 400 leads year to date, and I have a pretty skinny team for what we have on 400 leads. We are way behind. Okay. I am not a good example right now, but I'll tell you what, we'd be dead in the water if I didn't have the CRM. There is no way I could handle 400 leads in the last 3.5 months if I didn't have this system help telling me what I need to work on next. And so what this allows me to do is it allows me to put in a next action date. So let's just pick somebody here. Jason is an example. And if I go into Jason's lead, we've got a next action date that was last week. So this, by the way, is how things are ugly because we're not caught up on it because we're just getting so many more leads in every day that we're not able to stay on top of it. But the lead came in on the 11th. I can look at my notes. I don't have a phone number for Jason. I've only got an email for him. He found me on my YouTube channel. Not sure if I can do a loan in his community. Looking for the first home, wants to get some information about the Dream for All program. We emailed them back. There's no phone number, and we sent them the Calendly link for how to apply. And we can see that email. I'm assuming, yep. Well, she logged the notice right here. If she sent the email through, and I'm actually going to do it right now. I'm going to follow up with the borrower, and I'm going to send an email to him. And I'm going to say, checking in. I'm going to put in here, Jason, I wanted to follow up since the Dream for All program is only open for 2 more weeks. Time is running out. To take the next steps, find a time. Let's talk about options by having you schedule a time in my calendar by clicking this link. And then I'm going to put in the link. And I'm going to send it. And it's now going to track it. And so now I'm going to log that interaction. Now, if it was a phone call, I would log it as a phone call. Okay. But it's not a phone call. And so I'm simply going to, I'm going to technically treat it, to me, that was a left message because I got a message to him, whether it was a voicemail message, a text message, or an email message. I treat that as a contact. And so I would put left message and I would say, JK emailed to Calendly link with sense of urgency that we only have 2 weeks left. Okay, and then I'm gonna leave my stage the same. I could update my stage to change it. And so I can change it between any of these stages if something changed on that phone call. In this case, it didn't, but I'm updating my next action dates. And so what your goal is your goal is to only think about that lead on the day that you've scheduled it as your next action date, and then forget about it the rest of the time. And so I followed up with him today. I followed him today. So let's go ahead and put this to Thursday. And that's going to show up on our list of next action due on Thursday. And when I look at my next action due list, I don't care about all it. He will no longer show up on the list because his next action is due in the future. I don't like tasks because you end up getting too many tasks personally that you become overwhelmed. But if every lead simply has, when do I need to think about this lead next? And when the lead first came in, you need to think about it daily. When the lead after a week, you think about it every other day. After the second week, you think about it, every third or fourth day. So you figure out what your prescribed plan is, and you say, I don't need to worry about this for 2 weeks because this guy just went on vacation. Then I just put my next action date of 2 weeks from now, and I don't have to think about or look at that name anymore until that day 2 weeks from now. Janessa, what thoughts or questions do you have about what I just explained?
How do you use this with your realtors as far as just what's your system look like for that when you're going through all of these leads?
So when I log a call, I'm not going to bother sharing it on the screen right now, but when I log a call, if there is a realtor tagged, the moment I finish logging the call, the next screen pops up and it says, do you want to send a text message? Do you want to update that realtor? And so I always click yes. And then it says, do you want to send a text or an email update? And so it's up to the realtor on how I wanted to send the update. Then it says, do you want to send them the note you already typed or a custom note? Well, it depends. If I wrote something that I think is appropriate and I can plan ahead and say, hey, I'm typing this with the realtor in mind, then I just click, yep, use the note I already wrote, and it will automatically send a text message immediately to that realtor. And so it's forcing you to follow up so that every single time that I touch a lead and I update it, if there is a realtor tagged in that lead, it forces me to consciously say yes or no. Do I want to update the realtor? And I can't see any good reason that I'd ever say no. So 100% of the time, I am sending a follow-up, either email or text to the realtor saying, I just touched this file. Here's what happened.
That's awesome. And have you found that you've been able to get more realtors to use you because of that?
100%. They talk about the follow-up. They talk about the fact that, oh my gosh, Sean, I love it when I get the text messages from you. I know that you're taking care of our clients. As I work with new realtors and I explain this to them, it's a game changer once they experience it. When I tell them that, telling somebody that you provide good customer service, it isn't that big of a wow because everybody says it. But when you show it, when you say, I'm great at follow-up and I'm consistent and I will notify you every single time I talk to any of your leads, and then you actually do it, it's a game changer. And I have so many realtors that say I wouldn't work with anybody else because I have no idea what's going on with my leads. And I always know what's going on with my leads. And I always know that you're on top of them. So it makes a huge difference in my business.
That's awesome.
All right, we're gonna try and move through a few things really quickly and wrap up some stuff. So I want to talk about the 4 p.m. text. So Janessa, tell us what the 4 p.m. text is and what does it mean to you?
So the 4 p.m. text is essentially the system goes through any leads you've gotten for the day. And at 4 p.m., it automatically sends you a text message with the contact information for those leads. And it prompts you to call them. And so you can go ahead at the end of the day. Let's say I got a lead at 8 a.m. I got another one at 10 and I got another one at 1. And I talked to 2 out of 3 of those people as far as initial contact, getting something set up similar to what we did before. I can go back at 4 p.m. and just click their phone number in the text and call them and touch base and say, hey, I was just thinking about you. I wanted to follow up, see if you had any additional questions. I'm really looking forward to meeting you Friday at noon. I touched base with your agent. They're really excited to get started. Then it gives me an opportunity to call the people I didn't get in touch with as well and just do one more touch before the end of the day so I can have as much communication and contact and love with them as possible. And it's all automated and makes it super easy.
And the person that sent it to you, their information is sent in the 4 o'clock text as well. So you can call the realtor too, correct?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yep. Let the agent know again, hey, I've talked to them. This is when we're meeting, and show them that you are amazing at follow-up.
So let me demonstrate how you set that up. It's really simple. So the key is you have to put your leads in. Okay, you gotta put your leads in as soon as you possibly can. If you're in front of your computer, put it in right away. If you are out and about, as soon as you get a place to stop, you can enter it in on your phone. You can enter it in on your laptop or your tablet. But you set up the 4 p.m. text right here by clicking at Summit Teams. And you're going to find your team. And then you're going to same place that Janessa went to find the lead tracker. You're going to go to team members and you're going to find your name and you're going to click your team member ID number. So I'm going to, instead of clicking the lead tracker on the right, I click on my team member ID. Now this is where I'm going to set up my goals. So the key is you want to have goals. So my lead goal is 50 leads a month. I'm at 94 right now, but I can edit that. And I can say, hey, I want 50 leads and I'm going to make that 60. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to do it right now. So I'm going to change it to 60. And then the rest of these should add up to the total of 60. So I've got 12 ad goals, 30 realtor goals, leads, 5 business, 3 CCRs, 5 PCs, and 5 PCRs. I have no personal friend goals because I don't have friends. So that is my lead goal. And then this is my enrollment into the 4 p.m. text. And so all I have to do is put my cell phone number right here, and I have to put what time zone I'm in. Because 4 p.m. for me is not necessarily 4 p.m. for you. And so once you put in your cell phone number and your time zone, it automatically sends you the 4 p.m. text starting immediately. It's that simple. So you want to make sure that you're putting your goals in here because it does a few things. It helps you on your homework, because if we look at the homework, as it calculates the homework, I'll show you in a second what it does. But it says, okay, what's my daily lead goal? Well, to get to 60 leads, I need to do 2 leads per day. Now, I'm at 94 leads. So it tells me every day how many leads I have to get per day between now and the end of the month. So let's pretend I had 30 leads so far, and I have 15 days left. Then I'm right on track. I need 2 leads per day to get me to the end of the month. Now, if my goal was 60 and I've only got 15 and I'm halfway through the month, then even though my average I needed per day was 2, I got to catch up, which means I need 3 leads per day in order to catch up. I'm over my goal. I am ahead by 64 leads because I'm at an average of 5.88 leads per day, even though I only expected to get 2. My goal was 2 leads per day. So I am 64 leads ahead. But if I was halfway through the month and I had 30 leads, I'm 0 ahead. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. So the goal is to keep that number a green number, keep it positive. And here's where you find that number. You go to the home screen and you scroll down here to the bottom, and it says right here, month to date leads ahead, 64. It's a positive number because I should have 30 leads. Yesterday was the 15th of the month. We're halfway through the month. If my goal was 60, I should have 30 to be on track, and I have 94. So I'm 64 leads ahead of where I need to be for the month, okay? Over here on the left, this is what I call the rainbow. This is super ugly. My team's gonna be really embarrassed that I'm showing this to you because these are all the leads we haven't followed up on, okay? These are all the leads that we have a next action date. I have 34 leads that had a next action date of last week, 34 more leads that had next action date of yesterday, and another 30 leads that have a next action date of today. But literally we are being crushed by a bunch of leads and we are swimming our way out of it. Again, good problems to have. I am not complaining at all. I wish that problem on all of you. But it tells me right here whether I'm on track. So every single day I know if that number is green, it's 0 or above, I am on track for my leads. If I'm behind, then I better turn up the heat and go get more leads. The other thing I check regularly is my sales dashboard. So this dashboard tells me everything about lead trends. And so we talked for a minute ago about how to track your leads by category. I'm going to go in a little bit more detail here. Right up here on the top in Lead Tracker, you have all of your goals. And so I said my goal is 3 CCRs and I have none. My coach is going to kill me. My goal is 5 PCRs and I have 2 so far. Actually, I have 0 leads that are PCRs. My goal is 5 PCs and I've got 14, 30 realtor leads and I've got 16. So I'm right on track halfway through the month with my realtor leads. I'm ahead on my past client leads. I'm ahead on my business person leads, and I'm crushing it on my ad leads. So I'm doing a lot on YouTube. That's where a lot of my business is coming from right now. But this is where I'm tracking my goals per category. So I know if I'm on track. I know where, so I said I have 96 leads, another one just got put in. So boom, we're at 97. So that's how I'm tracking that. We talked about how to print. We talked about how to know if you're on track per day. Now I want to talk about how to track conversion. Janessa, I'm going to run with this real quick so we can kind of shorten this and get it finished. That sound okay?
Go for it. Yep.
All right. So as I'm looking at this dashboard, I just refreshed. Click here to hit refresh. I refreshed this morning at 7:30 in the morning. So right over here, it tells me my month to date leads, and it's a dial. And so I'm at 94 leads, and it kind of stops at 100. Over here in the top right is my conversion numbers. So I track every one of my leads. I've been getting a lot of leads, and there are a lot of leads that are into the future. So my numbers suck from a conversion perspective because I've highly accelerated the number of leads. Now I've got to get better at converting those leads. Okay. In business, you only have one of two problems. You have a lead generation problem or a lead conversion problem, and you cannot have a lead conversion problem until you're generating too many leads to handle. So I have gotten to that point. I now have a conversion problem because I'm generating more leads than I can handle. So right here, it tells me that for the last year, 47% of my leads let me pull credit. 23% of my leads became a transaction that's pre-approved or in contract, and 8.2% of my leads funded. But a big part of that is I got 400 leads in the first 105 days of this year. And those are all leads that are going to be funding over the next 6 to 9 months. And you can see a lot of trends here. So I can see my closing numbers, but look at my lead numbers. Last year, I was averaging purchase leads of about 45 to 48 every single month. Refinance leads anywhere from 2 to 4 every month. So I was in the 40 to 50 total lead count until September, October. October, it dropped 24 purchase leads in October, 21 in November, and 17 in December. Now, refi leads were moving up a little bit. So I got some refi leads there, but January, it took off. So January, 61 purchase leads and 21 refis. February, 74 purchase leads, 11 refis. March, 90 purchase leads and 7 refi leads. So I have 97 leads in March, and I'm literally at 97 because of the 3 leads that came in today. I didn't refresh this yet. I'm at 97 leads right now. So this allows me to see graphically that this number in April is going to shoot up significantly higher, then May is going to drop back down. Because right now, a lot of my business is coming from a program that has a short window of opportunity, and I'm capitalizing on it. So we talked about that. We talked about how to see lead trends, and we talked about tracking leads already per realtor. So we're ready for some closing thoughts. Janessa, I'm going to turn it over to you for a couple of minutes of any closing thoughts you have about what we taught and what people need to use to take away from this.
Yeah, I think the reason people don't track leads is it can feel really overwhelming. Pen to paper feels just really easy. But if you can at least start by just inputting your leads and then continue to build on those skills, that's how I really got good at the CRM. We were probably one of the most resistant teams as far as converting everything over. And it has been such a game changer for us. And we're still learning. Like, as you could see, there's still things that I'm not doing to the most extreme level that I could. And it's just about building on those baby steps. But at the very bare minimum, start tracking your leads on who they come from and updating their actual contact information and who they came from. And that is a great place to start. And then every week, every month, just build a little bit more on how you're using that CRM to the best of your ability. And those little changes will start to move the dial in big, big ways in your business.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that is, first of all, Janessa, thank you so much for all the insight you gave today. You were amazing and very, very helpful. The piece that I want to give people to take away is just start by putting the leads in. Don't do anything else. Even if you're just putting the leads in and updating the stage, you're going to start communicating out of it. You're going to fall in love with the communication from there. That's a lot of what Janessa is doing right now. The power over time comes from the history. It comes from, you're going to look at it and say, well, this isn't helpful because I can't call my realtor today and talk to him about all my leads that I have with him because they're not in there. And that's kind of like saying there's no point in planting a tree because it takes so many years for the tree to grow and be valuable to society. Well, what's the saying that, the best time to plant a tree was, 50 years ago. Second best time to plant a tree is today. And so you could go back and you could say, man, I wish I could put all my leads back in there. Maybe I'll wait to start tracking my leads until I have time to enter in all my old leads. You won't. Don't do it. Just start. Just start putting in your leads. I promise you will fall in love with it. There are so many things we didn't talk about, and we went pretty deep, but there is so much power to this that is going to make your life easier. But step one, just start entering your leads. Every time you get a lead, put in the lead and then keep your notes and your follow-up. And I strongly suggest using next action date because it keeps the list really simple to focus on the people that you're supposed to talk to today. So I really appreciate everybody listening. We are coming up on an hour right now, so we're going to let you go. Thank you, everybody. If you have questions, again, on the technical side of it, the marketing team is here to help you. From a sales perspective of how to use it, talk to your coach, because all of the coaches are pushing more and more into using this and integrating it into their process. And we look forward to helping you on your journey to get more leads and make more money. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, guys.